are Gay and Robert. 5 years ago, we quit our jobs, sold our house and all of our possessions, and began living the dream of traveling the world with only backpacks on our backs. After flying over 300,000 miles and visiting 82 countries, COVID brought us to a screeching halt. True to our fashion, we improvised and bought a brand new van and built it out in just 6 weeks to explore the United States until international travel opens up. So we decided we'd give you a breakdown on how much the cost of our Alaska trip was. So number one is flights.
So we took our flights out of Seattle to Fairbanks. They were $99 each way, so $198 round trip. It was a direct flight, and total was $400, of course, with the plus we paid $30 each for each way for the pack rafts, so another $120. So total, including the pack rafts, and most people won't have those, was $520.
And how much was parking the van at the airport parking location?
Parking the van was about $100.
Okay. Next up is rental car.
So rental cars, we rented through budget, through Priceline. It was $530. We rented about 2 months ago. Got it cheap because rental cars went away. There was no more rental cars available. But $530 is a fairly good deal for 10 days.
Yeah, I agree. It's a fairly reasonable price.
Lodging, and we stayed in some really creative, fun places that were pricey for what we got. So we'll do the rundown on how much our lodging was.
So tell everybody how much it cost us to stay at all these Hiltons around Alaska.
Well, it really wasn't too bad for, I think it was 10 nights, might have been 9, but it was $700.
We're giving a breakdown. You need to know how many nights we stayed.
Yeah,
Come on.
$700 is what we paid, but we camped one night, so that was pretty cheap. And
how much was camping?
Camping was $20.
Oh yeah.
So that was cheap. So that brought it down a little bit. Also, we stayed at that bar place that was only $67. But many of them were $100, $120. So
yeah,
pricey, but overall $700 for a 10-day trip is pretty reasonable.
One of the big expenses you're going to have if you're renting a car, of course, is gas. And gas is a little bit pricier in Alaska. So
what was the price of gas?
we kept a tally on the price of gas all along the way to let you know how much it cost us.
And we drove a lot. So we drove the whole circle, basically.
Do you know how many miles that is?
I do not know the miles.
What good are you?
You should probably know the miles before you start this video so that people would know the miles.
So tell me the gas. We'll quickly look up our phone and we'll cut it in on how many miles it was.
So we ended up spending about $200 in gas.
That's it?
Yeah, it's not that much. I mean, the car got 24 miles per gallon. It was a Jeep Cherokee, and so and we did quite a bit of driving.
Yeah.
But, I will have to check the miles.
We'll get back to you on that one.
So we ended up driving 1,500 miles in, like I said, 8-9 days. So quite a few miles, but it's pretty much you have to do to get from spot to spot, and it was well worth it, of course.
Yeah, that you don't have a choice. I mean, that's a given. If you come to Alaska, you have to rent a car, unless you're coming in on a cruise ship, and then you don't. But again, it's all in choices, and the expenses, are
you get to
up
see
to you.
So much more than.
So the other expense that we had, which you don't have to have, but you are probably going to have some of these if you're coming to Alaska to see things, are prices on excursions. And for us, we had a train that we took. We had the bus in Denali. And we did fishing. And let's make sure they know that I caught all the fish, right? Yeah?
All right, how much were all of our excursions together?
Well, the train, which was just a one-way discovery train from Portage to Spencer Glacier, was like $50 a person, so $100 total there. The bus in Denali was also about $50 a person. It was a camper bus, but you can get on and off then as you please on the other buses, the transit buses.
And then fishing, how much was fishing altogether?
So fishing was $650, which is a boatload of money to fish. And it's something that we wouldn't do normally, but it was good. It was very fun. It was worth it. But
let's break it down. I've been wanting to fish in Alaska for a long time. I've spent a ton of money on trying to do it myself and unsuccessful. So we went this route so we would catch fish with somebody who knew what they were doing. So we had to buy the license. Of course, you have to buy a license. And that was only $30 a person. So that's reasonable. And then when I searched online for all the other fishing excursions, they were $500 plus.
Right, and it was for halibut fishing, and that's crazy. So no, many people go on vacations and spend money on excursions. So it's totally reasonable. It's just, we normally would not spend $650 to fish for 3-4 hours or 5-6 hours, whatever it was. So.
No, wait. I wanted to do fishing, so we were doing fishing. So total cost of our Alaska trip was $2,700 or $270 per day. And this didn't include food, and so that is going to be quite variable.
But you eat at home, so it was a little bit more expensive here, but it's relatively the same.
Yeah.
And if we look at lodging, we're $700. We spend that somewhat all the time, unless we're in the van, of course.
Yeah.
So that's a fairly normal number, really.
Yeah. You can obviously choose to eat in more expensive places, or you can do the grocery store thing, or you can stay at places that have kitchens. So that I don't think is a fair thing to break down because we all spend money differently on food. Well, I hope you found it helpful for us to break down the costs of Alaska and how we choose to spend our money, so that maybe gives you an idea on how inexpensive it is to travel to Alaska.
It can really be, and this is with all trips. You just have to pick your right timing and find the right flights, the right rental cars, all that, and it's pretty reasonable. I mean, $270 a day for a vacation is really good, especially to Alaska.
And remember, guys, to check out our adventure videos from Alaska, and thank you for watching.
And leave your comment below, and please subscribe.